Depending on how old you are, today is the first day without protection to abortion access. We look at what the Supreme Court's decision means for Colorado and where candidates seeking your vote on Tuesday stand on the issue.
Where are you from, Michael?
From Tampa, Florida. All my life.
I think I know where this is going. All right.
We're an equal opportunity place for good news, regardless of where you're from. And I'll have a few words on why Democrats are being irresponsible, spending millions to try to cherry pick the Republican candidate that makes it past Tuesday. Next. June 24th, 2022 will be one of those days where you remember where you were. Where you were when the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. Abortion is now illegal in more parts of the country. Colorado is not one of those parts. Earlier this year, Colorado lawmakers protected a woman's right to an abortion by putting that in state law. Colorado will be a destination for women unable to receive abortions where they live. Look at the surrounding states on this map. Those states either restrict abortion access or do not explicitly protect the right to an abortion. Do not worry. That's the message from Democratic Governor Jared Polis. He says not to worry about access to abortions. He can say that now, but it is not set in stone in Colorado. In a statement just after the Supreme Court's decision, Polis said, "Because of my administration and Democratic leadership in the legislature, Coloradans don't have to worry because our rights are still protected today, despite the unfortunate reality that the U.S. Supreme Court just rolled those freedoms back for millions of Americans in other states." Colorado's new law protecting abortion access is a state statute. It can be changed by a future state legislature or by a successful ballot issue. Those are unlikely because as long as Democrats are in charge of either the state House or the state Senate, an abortion restriction bill will not make it to the governor. And as long as the governor is a Democrat, it's unlikely it would be signed. And Colorado voters have rejected attempts to restrict abortion access 6 times since 1998, most recently in 2020. Right now, there's a large group of protesters outside the state capitol, a protest that was called on earlier today for 6 o'clock. The rain has not kept them away. They've been chanting and carrying signs, and now traffic on Lincoln is blocked. State troopers have currently closed the road. We'll keep an eye on this and go back if it gets any different than what you're seeing right now at the state capitol. With Colorado on an island, surrounded by states with restrictions or no access to abortions, demand for legal abortions in this state will draw women from out of state. Longer wait times for abortion access is already a thing. The state health department reports out-of-state visitors accounted for 13.5% of abortions in Colorado last year. You can kind of see that on the bottom right of the chart. 1,560 abortions, a 6-year high. That number is more than likely to go up with more states limiting abortion access.
We're seeing, depends on the week, between 50 and 100% more patients than we were seeing a year ago. And we're scheduled 2 or 3 weeks out.
For those of you voting this weekend and choosing this as your key issue, here is where the Republican candidates for governor and Senate stand on abortion. Gubernatorial candidate Heidi Ganahl opposes abortion access except in cases of rape, incest, or to protect the mother. Greg Lopez opposes all access to abortion without exception. But again, the legislature would have to get them a bill to sign first for anything to change. For U.S. Senate, Ron Hanks opposes access to abortion with no exceptions, and Joe O'Dea has said he would support a federal law to protect a woman's right to choose early in the pregnancy. He is against late-term abortion, but has not defined what he means by late term. Colorado's Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser and 7 Democratic district attorneys have signed a letter saying they won't enforce anti-abortion laws. Here's the line from the letter that stuck out to me. "We decline to use our office's resources to criminalize reproductive health decisions and commit to exercise our well-settled discretion and refrain from prosecuting those who seek, provide, or support abortions." That's not going to be a problem in Colorado because the state currently protects a woman's right to have access to abortions. But we reached out to all 8 and asked if they're okay with other law enforcement not enforcing laws they disagree with, such as the large capacity magazine ban or when COVID restrictions existed. A few of the DAs provided PR responses by email. Denver's DA emphasized law enforcement discretion in who to arrest or when not to file a case. Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser wrote back, all prosecutors have to make decisions about enforcement priorities. The Attorney General is not in a position to second-guess a fellow prosecutor's decisions, and ultimately the public makes decisions about prosecution priorities by who they vote for as their district attorney or attorney general. For all the access Colorado still allows for abortions, the effort to get Roe v. Wade overturned included help from Colorado. The Colorado Catholic Conference sees the Supreme Court decision as progress, but not the end.
As the Catholic Church, as the pro-life movement, generally speaking, we celebrate the end of Roe, but we also have a lot of work to do in our home state, too. That's why we celebrate now. Roe v. Wade is done. Now it's in the states. And what's going to be very interesting is we're going to see a lot of pro-life states start getting stronger and promoting a sanctity of life, and a lot of pro-abortion states like Colorado doing the complete opposite.
It's now been 55 years since Colorado adopted a groundbreaking law that significantly loosened restrictions on legal abortions. In 1967, rookie Democratic state lawmaker Dick Lamb introduced the bill. It allowed abortions if the woman's physical or mental health was threatened, if the unborn child might have birth defects, or in cases of rape or incest. Before the law, Colorado, like many states, allowed abortions only if a woman's life was at stake. Lamb said at the time that he thought the bill might derail his political career. The bill passed and was signed into law by Republican Governor John Love. It did not derail Lamb's political career, as he would later be governor and run for president. Political ad shenanigans continue in Colorado. In most cases, political mailers are supposed to include a disclaimer. You know, who paid for the ad? These are some of the mailers targeting the Republican U.S. Senate race between Ron Hanks and Joe O'Dea. They do not include a disclaimer of who paid for them, and get this, they lie. A bubble next to Hanks says endorsed by the Colorado Republican Party. That is not true. Neither the Republican or Democratic parties endorse candidates in a primary. O'Dea has sued the printer of these mailers in civil court. These mailers paint Hanks as the more conservative candidate. They are very similar to the political ads showing Hanks as the conservative candidate and Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Lopez as the conservative candidate. These ads are paid for by Democrats trying to meddle in the Republican primary. It's also happening in the Republican primary for the new Congressional District 8. The group 314 Action tweeted today, "We will not stop fighting to elect pro-choice leaders to all levels of public office." But the political arm of that group, 314 Action, has paid for mailers to support Republican candidate Lori Sain, who is clear that she does not support the right to an abortion. Democrats, you are playing a reckless and irresponsible game. You have spent $4 million in the Republican U.S. Senate race alone. You're paying for TV ads and political mailers to elevate the profiles of super conservative candidates who, on most issues, are on the opposite end of the spectrum of what you believe in. And what for? The end game is that you hope Republican voters will see these ads and say, that's the conservative for me. And you believe that the Democratic candidates you support will have an easier time in November against a super conservative opponent. Democrats, you're spending money to promote candidates who cheer today's decision by the Supreme Court. And you're spending money to promote candidates who continue to push unproven 2020 election fraud. That puts your credibility at stake. Say one thing, do another. Isn't that what we hate in politics? Democrats, if you win on Tuesday, and by win I mean seeing the super conservative candidates win, just remember, you get what you pay for. No better way to celebrate Pride Weekend in Denver than by helping support LGBTQ Coloradans. Your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign this week is doing just that. Here's Kyle on the road during his time off with more.
As Denver celebrates Pride Fest this weekend, we are supporting Envision You through this week's Word of Thanks campaign. They're a statewide nonprofit focused on the mental health of our LGBTQ neighbors, with a special emphasis on the mental health of young people in Colorado. They facilitate conversations between parents and children so that families can be healthy and strong and have productive relationships. And they also have a special focus on convincing LGBTQ Coloradans to seek out mental health care. We know that Colorado has a mental health crisis these days that specifically impacts our LGBTQ neighbors. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me in giving to Envision You, and have fun at Pride.
Another decision made today impacting women is a nightmare for athletes hoping to live out an Olympic dream. Childhood Marshall always wanted to sit in the chair I'm currently sitting in, but on nights like tonight, I'd rather be slipping and sliding on some ice. This Friday is a vibe, like a Stanley Cup championship kind of vibe. We head to Larimer Square for some nervous anticipation, and your Friday good news next. "50 years after Title IX was supposed to bring equality to sports, and yet another setback for women. The International Olympic Committee decided not to allow women's Nordic combined to the 2026 Winter Games. That decision comes a day after we heard from Annika Molosinski from Steamboat Springs. She competes in the Nordic combined, which is a combo of ski jumping and cross-country skiing. She wants to represent her country in the event at the Olympics, but so far, it's only for men. Nordic combined was one of the original 16 medal events at the first Winter Games in 1924. The IOC decision cited too few countries that have women athletes for the event. Now, the men's Nordic combined may also be in jeopardy because the IOC did not commit to keeping it beyond 2026, citing concerns that it lacks a global audience. Well, the puck has not yet dropped on Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and I know this because I have an eye on a TV over there with the game on. Here I am on the desk of Next, instead of where Childhood Marshall wants to be, at the game. But really nothing can top my experience 21 years ago. I was a college student who was hired to hold a camera cable on the ice immediately after Game 7 between the Avs and the New Jersey Devils. This was before cell phone cameras, so I had my point and shoot in my cargo pocket, snuck it out to capture these moments. Captain Joe Sakic handing the cup to Ray Bourque for the first time, the captain himself skating around with it, and goalie Patrick Waugh. Tonight, instead of being on the ice, I'll be high above Larimer Square reporting for 9 News at 9 and 10, win or lose.
And win or lose, we are going to be talking about the potential for some showers here as we head over to the next couple of hours. But any storms that we've got now should clear fairly quickly. So if the Avalanche win, it looks pretty okay post-game. Overnight, though, we do get a cold front that drops on through, and that will impact our weather for the weekend ahead. For now, showers and storms mainly over eastern Colorado, but there's still one little line just to the west of Denver. Once this pushes way on through, we should clear on out. So this, another hour or so with some quick downpours, perhaps a rumble of thunder or two. And again, once that moves its way on through our region, we should be clear and dry for the rest of tonight. So by 9 o'clock tonight, again, this would be somewhere after the game or about there. Looks pretty clear for us in the Denver area. Far eastern Colorado, perhaps a lingering shower or storm out that way. Overnight, cold front drops on through, and that will bring us a much cooler and also potentially much wetter weekend ahead. Temperatures right now, 70s, 80s for the most part in the eastern plains, 96 into southeastern Colorado and Lamar. That is going to go away once we get that cold front on through overnight tonight. So tonight, temperatures drop back into the mid-50s. Again, any storms that we've got early on should clear fairly quickly here with winds generally on the light side. Tonight, temperatures drop back into the 50s, 60s eastern plains for the most part. Southeastern Colorado, a few 70s lingering on through, and 40s on up into the mountains. Now, tomorrow, we do have much cooler temperatures ahead. Highs just in the mid-70s for us. It is mostly cloudy, and those afternoon showers, I think it's going to be a little later of a start time for tomorrow with those showers compared to today. So we're looking maybe around 4, 5, 6 o'clock when we get that rain to drop its way on through tomorrow evening. So Denver area, again, watch out for some of that rain. Heaviest rain south of the Palmer Divide, so Colorado Springs, Pueblo. This is where we're going to be seeing some of that heavier rainfall as we get into your day tomorrow. That will linger through most of your night tonight before this finally starts to dissipate on down by your Sunday morning. Closer looking at the Denver area again. Notice the time here. 3, 4 o'clock, rain develops, and by 7, 8 o'clock, that rain will be heavy at times with some rumbles of thunder mixed in there as well. And then by about 9, 10 o'clock, that rain does start to dissipate. 7-day forecast, we get into your Saturday and your Sunday. Again, it looks pretty soggy and pretty cool for us. Temperatures running about 10 to 15 degrees below average, but then by your Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we see high pressure build back in, and that'll lead to temperatures back into the low to mid-90s by Tuesday and Wednesday before more rain potentially for the end of next week.
Me and my boy out here coming to celebrate our best friend from 6th grade. He's getting married today.
Marriage, hockey games.
Figured it out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations.
So we are due in March.
And pregnancies. What does our Friday good news not have? Next. It's Friday. Still no score. On Fridays, we like to share your good news. And this Friday is a vibe, especially in downtown Denver. With the Avs looking to wrap up their third Stanley Cup in franchise history, we head to Larimer Square under the Avs banners to ask our favorite Friday question, what's your good news?
Denver is buzzing right now. The Avs about to bring home the Stanley Cup.
My good news is I'm in town to see the Avalanche play tonight with my son, who traveled here from Alaska.
My good news is that I'm here to see the Avalanche with my dad, who traveled here from Alabama.
My good news is that my wife is pregnant. Yeah, there we go. It was a shock to me as well. Yeah.
My good news is my Aunt Sandra celebrating 76 years on this earth. Happy birthday, Sandra. We love you.
Our good news is we're pregnant. So we got a baby due in March. And you guys didn't know?
We didn't know.
No. And you're traveling with them. We're here for one of our best friends' weddings.
What's up, Denver? My good news is that my son has improved his grades, his attitude, and I'm so excited for his future. He's come a long way, and it's been a long battle with him and the family, and I'm just so proud of him right now. So that's good news for me.
So after the Rangers won Game 2, we actually bought a hotel, bought a plane ticket to come to Colorado, and hopefully see them play here in Denver. Haven't been here, wanted to see the area, and fortunately we lost 4 straight, but I'm actually on my way to the stadium to get some Avalanche gear and come out and party with the city, and hope you guys beat the Lightning in a way that we couldn't. So
my good news is I'm getting all my BMX parts that I'm getting for my new bike. I'm gonna find them here.
My good news is it's my first time out here with my best friend. We've known each other for over 30 years. I have no pictures of this guy together. It's our first trip out here. We're just trying to have a good time. So that's my good news.
Just the buzz in the air. You can feel it.
A Rangers fan is at the game, and I'm anchoring the show. It's a sign that looks like it should be posted next to a pond or lake, but you're going to get a kick out of what it looks like. That and an update on something we told you about last week. It's a sign that the bathrooms are for going to the bathroom and nothing else. Weird that needs to actually be said out loud. Dan always gets a kick out of this sign whenever he goes to the Ute Creek Golf Course in Longmont, a no swimming, wading, or fishing sign. And that's not a body of water behind the sign. You know the sign is there because it's happened before, or hopefully there's just water nearby that we can't see in this photo. Send us the signs that make you look twice, perhaps gross you out a little bit. Snap a pic. Like Dan did, and send it to next@9news.com. You can also, next@9news.com, yeah, and you can also tweet the photos at us using the hashtag HeyNext. Feedback tonight's coming from me to somebody else. We told you last week we're losing our producer, Kevin Larson. My feedback is simply, I'll miss you. I didn't work this out correctly, and I hope we might have what I want to see Kevin as we say goodbye. Oh, look at that. There he is. There is the guy we've talked about, wax poetic over the last week. You saw Kyle's tribute to him, and I just want to say thank you and goodbye. And we can just watch him count down, starting from, I think, 5 is coming up now. Have a good post-TV life, Kevin Larson.